Welcome. This is the standard size of Scrunchie production batch 2, 4 by 30 inches. This is 4 by 30 inches. First thing to do is to fold in half, right side to right side. Right side will be inside, and then you start about 2 inches. Leave 2 inches before you start sewing. Remember to back stitch. And I put my presser foot at the very edge of the fabric. Depending on your level of sewing, you might need to slow down a little bit. This fabric breaks, so I'm just being careful. And I stop 2 inches before the end as well. And I cut off my thread. You're going to turn it out after sewing. Turn it out to the right side. When you turn it to the right side, then you now take the edges where you did not sew initially. You now join it. These are the 2 edges. You bring the 2 edges together, right side to right side, and stitch. With half of an inch. So after sewing with half of an inch, you have a full circle like that. Our scrunchie is almost ready, and then you notice that you have this little space. It is with this little space you will insert your elastic. We're going to be needing a safety pin. I don't know if you can see it. Safety pin. And then your elastic. I'm using the 1/4 inch elastic. So you take your tape measure. For this jumbo size. This is jumbo size. We have different sizes: the jumbo size, the standard size, the mini size, the super jumbo. This is super jumbo size. So we'll measure 10 inch for the super jumbo. For all the others, I use between 7 and 8 inches. For the super jumbo, I'm using 10 inches for the elastic. So you cut that off, set it aside, and you take your safety pin. You insert it into the elastic and feed it in. Remember to grab the end of your elastic, or if you have another pin, use it to keep it aside, and you run it through real quick with the safety pin, and I would pull it through and show you when I'm done. Okay, so I fed it through and the 2 sides are out. For best results, pin the 2 edges of the elastic together if you don't want it to run away. Like I always say, make sure you pin it together flat. That way you can pin it so there are 2 ways to this. Because I'm using 10 inches, you can also tie, but I won't tie. I will just stitch it, put it on the sewing machine and stitch it multiple times. Because I have pinned, I'm not going to have too much resistance. I'm not pulling or pushing anything. I'm just going to make sure it's fed through. couple of times. Take out the pin. Now that we have secured our elastic a little bit, so place it well. Make sure you secure your elastic so nothing rips out. Cut off your thread. We cut off our thread. Okay, make sure everything is nice and tight. How do you see our scrunchie? Looks so good. So, but before we get so excited, let's finish up. So this is what we have. So you have this space left. You use your hand to tuck it in. Make sure the seam aligns. So after tucking it in, we just make an edge stitch. We just make an edge stitch as nice and neat as possible. Nice and neat as possible. And try to use a thread that is as close to your fabric as possible, so that it's easy. So you tuck that in. Make sure you tuck it in. Make it nice and neat. And our scrunchie is ready. Hooray! Isn't it pretty? Beautiful. Waiting for your scrunchie project.